Aquarius, Aquarius, sun sign, rising sign, and or moon sign. This is a 2-week reading for all Aquarius starting today, the 5th of December, 2024. This is Ariel, and today I'm reading with this ancient Italian tarot, and I've already purified with this Agua Colonia by Alvarez Gomez. And you can find the links to purchase each of these products in the video description of this video on my YouTube channel. Let's see what is in the cards for all you gorgeous Aquarius. We're starting out with the 8 of Cups, followed by the Chariot, and then the 5 of Wands. Okay, this is nice. So following your intuition is doing a lot of good to you, for you. You are plugged into universal intelligence, and when you remember that, which it looks like you have been, you get very clear guidance as to what to do. And the guidance that you're following is giving you the opportunity to not only get where you need to go much more quickly, which is wonderful, but it's also making sure that you are victorious, that you're conquering any of those problems that have seemed sort of pesky. Some of them have seemed maybe bigger and a bigger deal than others, and some of them are just were just annoying. It doesn't matter, big or small. It does not matter with this Chariot card. You're overcoming it. You're conquering it. You're the victor, and you're doing great. Now, sometimes in the midst of your victory, sometimes especially when you're being victorious over nonsense, just ridiculousness, that some of the things that people or companies or policies and all that garbage that sometimes is just so annoying. If you notice that it gets you upset, it's not necessarily a bad thing, Aquarius. Usually we're saying like, oh, don't let it bother you. It's okay. Just calm down, relax. It's, don't sweat the small stuff. But sometimes when you're in the midst of being this victor, in this case especially, and something is just not sitting right with you and it makes you angry, fine. That's part of this. It's part of this victory. It's fine for you to feel that anger. And it's okay for you to express the anger, just don't do it in a toxic manner. You don't need to yell and scream at people. You definitely don't need to abuse people physically. But you don't need to also apologize to yourself for having anger or try to get rid of the anger necessarily. Allow the anger to take you from A to B. Sometimes that's what that anger is there for, is to get you out of one mindset and into a better one, and it's just an interim. And if part of this anger happens to involve stuck energy, which it usually does, do something physical. Just do something physical, like work out, go for a run, scream and yell inside of a parked car with the windows up so you're not bothering anybody. Pound some pillows, whatever you need to do to move the energy, but don't feel bad or wrong for that energy, because you have every right to feel angry sometimes. And sometimes that is righteous anger. That is righteous fury. And it's okay to acknowledge it and know that it's there. Don't use it in a toxic manner to abuse other people. I don't think I need to tell you that, because it doesn't look like that's your inclination anyway. But I like to mention that when the 5 comes up. But to not necessarily try to suppress the anger, make it wrong, or make it go away. Move through it to the other side of it. We don't want to live in the anger, but we want to move through it to the other side of it, not try to make it go away. It'll go away once it's served its purpose, because this is good anger. It's not, there's like different kinds of anger. It's not the kind of rage from, that's dealing with old negative neurotic patterns. This is righteous fury that sometimes comes up when you're in the midst of taking care of business. So you want to honor that. Beautiful Tower card. Good for you. Look at this Hermit card, King of Cups. You're so awesome, Aquarius. You are just right on top of things. I know it doesn't always feel that way when you're going through this 5 of Wands and you're having to conquer things. I know sometimes it doesn't feel good, but you're doing everything right. You are so on top of things. And why? Because you're listening to that inner guidance. You're listening to the wisdom. You're not listening to your ego. And if you are, you're learning not to. You're listening to that inner guidance, and you're doing what you're supposed to do. And you're staying in the moment. You're taking one thing at a time, and good for you. Don't let your ego try to convince you that since you're feeling annoyed about something, or that you're going through a period where you're having to, because this Chariot is ultimately a very positive card, but in the process of it, it can be disconcerting. I mean, just imagine, like this speeding chariot that's going riding to victory. It can be a little bit scary, especially if you're not into thrill rides. It can seem a little scary, but know that you're doing everything right. You're on the right road, on the right path, going to the right place. And if you get a little pissed off in the process, that's probably right too, because it's temporary. And it's usually, it looks like here, that the only time that anger comes up is when it's fully deserved. When it's fully warranted. Okay, so you don't need to go and scream and yell at the people that you're angry with, but you do need to move through that anger, not avoid it. Now, this Hermit card is right on top of your reading. It's like the crown there. And this Hermit carries this lantern of wisdom, enlightenment, and healing. And anytime you don't understand where to go, you recognize that this inner guide does. And you can just say, please shine your light on this situation. Shine your light on whatever this is. And be earnest with that. Just please shine your light on it. And trust that that light is being shined. And as that light is being shined, often what happens is the thing just gets shined away. Sometimes instead of being shined away, you get clarity on where to go, what to do, what your role is and what your role isn't, all of those sorts of things. And that's right where you are right now. And you're doing it. You're doing it. I'm not advising you to do it. You already are doing it. You may not recognize it as such, and that'll be helpful for you to recognize what you're doing so that you're more purposeful with it. But you're doing great. And I think you need to know that you're doing great, because this is very easy. It's very easy that between the Chariot and the Five of Wands, even though those are very positive cards for you, but it's very easy for the ego to say, see, nothing's good, and you don't want to listen to that voice, because it's just trying to pull you off your path. Don't be pulled off your path. You're right where you're supposed to go. Or so you're supposed to be, and you're going where you're supposed to go. And look at where you're headed. Is this spiritual master? That's you. You're a spiritual master. This is I know that for in some schools of thought, and some, depending on how the tarot is used, the cups are called water, and you're not a water sign, but your sign is the water bearer. So don't think of this as elemental water here. Think of this as being the spiritual master that you are as an Aquarius. It's just being so blatant with that communication here today. Right. And your ego is going to point to everything, every part of your life and every character flaw that it can come up with, and say, that can't be true. Look at this. It can't be true. Look at that. It can't be true. Look at this. And this card is saying it doesn't matter. You're still there regardless of those things. And a lot of those character flaws and a lot of those, issues, I have at least started to, if not already completely, gone away. All of this crumbling, destruction. It's like the San Francisco earthquake of 1909 or whatever it was. The structure is gone. It's gone. It's leveled. And that's such a good thing for you, because nobody was hurt in this process. Your ego might want to tell you that you were hurt or others were hurt, but that's not the case. This was just an old, dilapidated, disgusting, rat-infested, condemned building that was unoccupied, that was just taking up space, and it was problem after problem after problem, old problems, old fears, old patterns, old nonsense that you just hadn't bothered to deal with. It's all gone, or is going. So that's something to celebrate, isn't it? And now what you're left with is well, now what? Where do I go? Well, you're learning not to just make up your own mind about that. Because when you make up your own mind, it's not really your own mind that you're using. It's the mind of your ego. At least in this particular time-space continuum, we're kind of trapped by that. But we don't have to be, and you're recognizing that. And you're understanding that instead of listening to that sort of surface mind ego that wants to try to find a way to get you back into being stuck, because that's how it's programmed. It's programmed as a tool of self-destruction. Instead of listening to that, it says you're not listening to that. You're over that. You're done with that. Instead, you are riding to victory, and you are being guided each step of the way. And it's like what we talk about flying on instruments. Sometimes when the old pilots, before they had as many sophisticated autopilots like they do now, and I think still for some degree, I'm not an aviation expert, but they used to have to navigate in bad weather by just using instruments. They couldn't see, and they were so trained in it that it was fine. They were able to use those instruments to fly on instruments and to get to their destination safely. And that's what you're doing by listening to this inner guide. The inner guide is navigating for you, saying, go here, don't do this, do that. And even though you may not see clearly, and maybe you're getting a little bit, your feathers ruffled here and there, which is an okay thing. It's an okay thing. It doesn't mean that you're not the spiritual master that you are. You're getting to your destination safely, profoundly, and in a very successful manner. So you're doing everything right. Don't let your mind tell you you're not. You're in a place of possible uncertainty, but the uncertainty is just based on the fact that you're going so fast to victory. So don't let the ride scare you. You're safe and you're going right where you're supposed to be. And if your feathers get ruffled in the meantime, don't make yourself wrong for that. Do something about it. Move through it. Get some exercise, pound some pillows, do whatever you need to do to move through it rather than avoid it. You are doing so well. Good for you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I so appreciate you. And we will see you in a couple weeks, Aquarius. Until then, blessed be.